Hello y'all on YouTube, this is Rob with Rob's Nerdy Knives. Today we have the Bridgeport 1827. We just got this in and we want to go ahead and see if we can put some skiffs in there. We might tune that just a little bit. It's pretty good right now. Came in pretty nice out of the box. But I think it's just a little stiff for what I like. You know, I like to do my top flipping. If I don't hit that just right, it sure rips up because it's a little stiff. And I can tell after a little bit of fidgety with it, this bar was a little tight. You know, it's hard to push out. Now, that may be perfect for some of you, but not for everybody. And for me, you know, I like it not super. I don't like a super stiff detent. I like it a medium to medium light detent, especially for top flippers. To me, that's really important. So let's get into it. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open this. These are all T8s. We already checked out in the unboxing. I know that for a fact. And then we have our skiff washers and our little cheat sheet. We're going to figure out what skiff cage bearings fit. I think I might have some. Hopefully I do. If not, we'll have to order some more. But let's go ahead and take a look. Oop, I just dropped a piece of paper over there. A little wind dropped it. And sometimes I'll skip up the video just to speed it along because, you know, taking it apart, you guys know how that is. But if you want to, you can certainly slow it down. Go to YouTube and slow it down to 1/2 or 1/4 speed. But I will try to do this at 2x or 3x speed so the video speeds along. I do recommend a good Weha bit driver, especially one that's low. You can get good torque in there. I have my Ultim one here with combat beads, really nice little spinner, but this is, especially if these are tight, you want to make sure this is nice and flat and seated in. Good Weha bits as well really make a difference. So just my recommendation to you. I'm going to move some of this back. Wow, that one was really in there and I almost stripped it. That's crazy. I've never had one that strong. Okay. So if you get one of these, just make sure you can get a good seat in there. That's really important where you can strip that. That's crazy. All right. So first thing we'll do is figure out. Okay, so it's 5mm. Five millimeter 1/16. That's what we need. 5mm 1/16. Oh, very first one. Good. Cool. All right, then I like to clean it out. You can see that obviously there's a little bit of oil here, which is fine. I'm glad they put oil. But after it first came out of manufacturing, it's gonna probably be a little debris and stuff in there. So, all right. So it's a captive pivot right there. Now there are steel washers here. See if we can get them off. Yep. I always like to see how dirty the knife is, usually by cleaning the washers if there's a lot of debris. This one just has oil, so that's a good sign. I like that. It means the knife came in pretty clean. A lot of times that explains, you know, grit and action in a knife. These washers have pretty good movement, so they're not bad. Pretty decent washers. So if you're, you know, if you're not into totally swapping out your washers, then, you know, maybe not. But sometimes it can make a real world of difference in your knife. I think it's definitely something worth considering. All right. Then I like to clean off the steel washers that are in here. And I call those other washers. I meant cage bearings. Sorry, totally focused on. I was thinking about these guys. Now, one thing I sometimes do, depending on how the process is, I will just run this over a little straw like this. Now, typically I do this on phosphor bronze washers because I'm looking for burring and imperfection, but here I'm just looking for the possibility, you know, is there a little material that's on the washer that could make it a little not as smooth. So it's certainly not a requirement, but, you know, sometimes that helps. then I clean the inside of the washer when I run it over that. I want to make sure there's nothing on the outside edges or the inside edges. So there's one. Cheat and use a magnet. Yeah, of course. I'll drop it. I think we're done there. That's more than enough. So I also like to tune that detent. You can see this is up quite a bit. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring this back bar just a little bit. You want to be slow. You don't want to rush this at all. Be very, very cautious when you do this. Now hopefully this comes out pretty easily. Oh, it did. That's nice. Sometimes they fit these in so crazy, and you've got to use little cheat methods to get it out. Like to get the oil out of there too. So now what I'm going to look for, I don't know if you can see this, I am looking for the distance that it's up here, okay? So I'm trying to get a little set of how far up it is. Sometimes I'll use a blade like this. See how close it is? Okay. So just a little bit. Sorry, I hit it there with my hat. Yeah, so that's enough for me. I don't need a whole bunch. I'd rather come back and do it again than to overdo it, right? This looks like Mickey Mouse ears, doesn't it? It's kind of cool. So I reverse thread it. Hear the click. Here's a nice tight seal. There we go. Okay, so it's very little adjustment I did. Now we know that this has a little cutout right here. You see that? That allows, did I cut my finger? No. That allows it to become a captive pivot right here. So if it's not in, you'll see it's not setting. But once it gets in there, it's flush. And you just saw the back spacer is not perfectly seated. Part of it's screwed, but the other part is not. And that got oil back there, which that to me is unusual. Shouldn't be oil back there, so another reason sometimes to clean it. I mean, they may do that just for the shipping process, right? So there's no rust, but it's titanium, so there's not gonna be rust. I don't know what I'm thinking. Anyways, ignore that. This is nano oil. I have Nano Oil 85, this is Nano Oil 10. Obviously, I still have a little left. I have another bottle, but I used the 10 weight for the scales. I mean, for the washers, the cage bearings, excuse me. Now, if you notice, this has the blade stop pin inside the blade. So that's cool. So I want the polished side facing in. All right, so now we're ready. Now I will put some Loctite on this, but first I want to make sure everything's nice and centered in there, right? So what is not in? There we go. Now, all right. So I don't know if you can tell. I can already tell. There's no crunchiness in the slide, in the action. Now, not that these were bad washers, cage bearings. I call the phosphor bronze cage bearings, the cage bearings from Skiff washers, because they really are washers that are milled out. They're solid washers milled out with a little concave place where the ceramic ball goes in, and it locks in there in this little area that it rolls around in. But it's a solid washer. Unlike this, you'll see that this is crimped over the bearings. So I don't know if you can see that. This is crimped over the bearings. We'll zoom in a little bit. See how this is crimped over the bearings? Whereas the phosphor bronze are solid. That's the difference. So, action's really good. No blade play. Nice drop. Really smooth. Really easy, yeah. See, now for me, it's really easy to use that front flipper. And to me, I like front flippers. If you don't, don't do this. Just if you like just a fuller or the thumb hole, then just do that. To me, it's just really nice. No blade plate. All right, so now what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this out, and I put a little Loctite 242. Just want to make sure there's no oil on the threads. Make sure there's no oil down here. It's going to get in. Because if you're doing Loctite, oil kind of undermines a Loctite. You don't want that Loctite to kind of not get set. All right, so I just need a little bit to go around. And that's going to travel on the threads a little bit. I'll put that on here. So what I'm looking for is that controlled stop, that controlled drop. I don't want a guillotine. I know some people like the shake. I prefer a little bit looser than the shake, but not a guillotine. Some people love a full guillotine. I'm not really into that. I like it to drop, but I like it to be kind of a smooth all the way to the close. See, like that. That to me is nice. Let's double check. No blade play. And I always check the detent, because if you adjust this, sometimes if you're kind of careless or something, you can mess how the detent ball engages into detent hole. And then you have to try to figure out how to fix that. So that's why I always say small, easy, gentle adjustments is the best way to do that. You'll have a much better time doing it. This is my Skiff finger bit tool. Really cool little thing. There's aluminum, has a magnet in there. There's an extra bit in here. You can use that if you need it to hold one side of the knife if there's a screw like on both sides. When you have a captive pivot, you only need one screwdriver, and that's really cool. I do appreciate that. So one thing I didn't do, and I just realized in my hurry, I've been doing this lately, just forgetting about it, I didn't put any of my Nano 85 weight oil on there. Let me do that real quick. Ooh, it's coming out real fast. Okay, wow. Nano weight oil on the detent ball, and then we just like to make sure that works all the way in. Sorry about my watch going off. I forgot to put it on mute before we started the video. All right. Nice. All right, very good. I'm going to check it again. Now I got to let that Loctite set and keep it in place. All right, very cool. I like that. That was a nice swap, and a really beneficial swap. Did you absolutely need to do this? No, you didn't. Would your knife work just fine without it? Absolutely. If you like that little extra smooth feeling of a knife, especially if you have like some custom knives and you're used to that. I mean, custom knives just take it up a notch, right? It's just a special, I don't know, it's just kind of special. Custom knives I like because of that. So if you have a custom knife and you like that action, this gives you a little bit of that. I like to jokingly call the Skiff washers kind of like a, if you know, they're Skiff made blades. He makes custom knives. Steve Skiff and his dad, Steve Skiff, they both make, he makes knives, and I believe Steve Skiff, the son, does a lot of the machining. He's really, really outstanding work at that. If you ever see the Skiff made blades, you'll understand. But these Skiff washers are used in a lot of knives. Even other custom makers will buy these washers and put them in their knives. Some of them absolutely disclose it, some don't. And so, you know, if you know, you know. If you don't, you don't. But he'll make these incredible washers, and it feels like it's a little bit of custom knife fairy dust put on a production knife. I know that sounds stupid, but it makes your production knives almost have a little touch of custom knife goodness. That's the way I describe it, and I think that's a fair way to say it, because it's pretty cool. So let me just review again. If you're wanting to put the Skiff washers, cage bearings on there, remember, use RNK10. You get 10% off with my code. If you go and buy these are the Rocket Glide 5mm pivot. Balls is 1/16 inch. Ball count is 11. Inner diameter is 0.2 inches. Outer diameter is 0.37 inches. The thickness is 0.05 inches. And that is the washers, or cage bearings, sorry. Skiff caged ceramic ball bearing washers. That's what I call them. That's probably a very full description of them, but some people may agree, disagree, but that's fine. But that's what you would put in there. And in this case, I feel like it was a absolute banger of a thing. So let's go ahead and take a look at this knife again, get a nice close look up. And here's the blade. Let me zoom that in so you can see that. Nice hollow grind. And the handle, the captive pivot on that side. And we'll go over here. You see the milling on the deep pocket carry clip, and also chamfered all around. I think it's really cool. And here's the blade. So we get a nice close up here of the blade. All right, so that's the blade. I just like to take some pictures in case some people want to see a close up or what have you. So there you go. All right. Very cool knife. I love this action. It's going to be a lot of fun. This is going to be a fun carry. This is absolutely going to be a fun carry. So, hey, if you have any questions about these little helps, little to-dos, I like to take the knives apart, let you guys see what's on the inside of it, especially if you bought the knife and you're kind of curious. This hopefully will help you with either this knife or maybe another knife. See how I do it, what the process is. Pretty simple after you get comfortable with it. If you've never done it, I always suggest start off with a very inexpensive knife, right? Don't start off with an expensive knife, and whatever you consider expensive. I mean, this is probably an expensive knife for all of us. For some people, this might be a budget knife, but not for me. So I wouldn't recommend starting the first time to do this unless you're very mechanically inclined and you feel confident you can do this. Just be patient. Don't rush it. That's my biggest things always to tell people. Don't rush it. Well, if you have any questions, let me know. I'd love to hear from you. Be happy to answer any questions I can. If you have any questions for the channel, let me know as well. There will be a review on this knife that will be coming down the road, probably a little bit down the road, because I've got a lot of reviews queued up that I need to do. But hey, thanks so much for watching. If you found this content fun, interesting, informative, entertaining, worthwhile, would you please consider hitting the like button down below? If you've already hit that like button, would you please consider hitting the subscribe button? Subscribing and liking the channel really, really helps out the channel. Allows the channel to grow, to do more things, to be able to produce more content and do more things for you guys. So thank you. Thank you to you guys who like and subscribe, and also to you guys who just watch the videos and like and subscribe. I appreciate you guys watching the videos. Thank you. Appreciate every one of you guys. And if you haven't already, maybe hit that notification button so you can be notified of future content when it is dropped. And finally, to my channel members, I want to say a big thank you. Thank you for supporting the channel. You guys are very instrumental in allowing me to do a lot of these things and produce the content. And quite frankly, I use that money for giveaways. So really, that's what the money all goes toward giveaways. It helps cover some of it. So I appreciate you guys. And if one of you guys have been thinking about, maybe you're on the edge, considering being a channel member, love to have you. There's a link down below. There's very low tiers to more expensive tiers. There are some benefits, you know, some custom stickers. I give a sticker to anybody who becomes a channel member for the first time. So just, you know, reach out to me if you're a channel member. I will send you a sticker. But if you know, if you do become a channel member, there is exclusive channel members giveaway once a month. I do that. There is exclusive content, polls, different things that we get to do. So love to have you. Just offer it, but remember, there's no requirement. It's an offer and an invitation. I would love to have you. Hey, thanks so much for watching today. I really do appreciate you guys, and I almost forgot to tell you about this. Hey, go check me out over on Instagram at Robs_nerdy_knives. Again, that's on Instagram at Robs_nerdy_knives. Hey, thanks so much for watching today. Have a great day and a great week. Bye.